looking into next week. Our weather guru is Gavin Morris from NBN Channel 9 and our weather expert here on the night shift. Gavin, good morning to you.
Good morning, Luke.
So an interesting weekend ahead, isn't it? I mean, dry conditions in the west and the east of Australia getting a hammering.
Yeah, absolutely stunning today in Perth and the southwest, warm and sunny. There is another little front that will be passing over during the weekend, but it's not as strong as all of the other fronts that we've seen to have during the weekend, and all of those has built or have built into it significant rain events that track across central Australia, arriving in the east during the latter part of the week. But amazingly, Luke, that's exactly what's going to happen again, because over the northern parts of Western Australia, there's a large amount of build-up yet again. Clouds, storms, moisture. Again, that is all driven off that Indian Ocean dipole, those warm sea surface temperatures that are sitting off the northwest shelf. But over in the east today, well, we've had this upper level cold pool that passed over during the week, and we saw some pretty impressive storms around the Sydney suburban areas. It's been very wet right across the southern New South Wales coast, even pushing inland over the southern highlands and towards the capital as well. Now, that upper level cold pool that's moved offshore yesterday, and overnight that low deepened, it's formed, and now it's going to track north. So it's moving and affecting the coastal areas from Sydney right across the central coast, Newcastle, up to the mid-north coast. So that's affecting everywhere from, the Manning, the Hastings, up to the Macquarie coast, up to the Coffs coast. So Coffs is going to see those showers move in by the end of today, along with those gusty, cold southerly winds, the showers yet again, Luke. It's just been brutal. Further north, Queensland shaping up nicely, although we've seen some big storms this week. On Thursday, we saw really big storms and showers there from the tail of that system that extended across the Capricornia coast, central coast of Queensland. And we saw an early start or an early taste of the wet season that triggered right across the tip of the territory throughout Darwin. So that big system has passed, and that's made way for a pretty nice day. Very nice conditions across the majority of Queensland today. But that low will move up the coast. It'll pull away. There's still going to be showers right across the New South Wales coast. Not too bad right throughout Victoria. We've got a fine one today from Adelaide to Melbourne and down to Hobart. But those showers, they're mostly clipping the New South Wales coast. All of that is going to settle down. But before I go, Luke, I just want to warn everyone again that we've got that next big, significant inland rain event that we'll be building as we progress through the middle of next week. And by this time next week, what will it be, Friday morning, Luke?
Yeah.
I guarantee that I'll be talking again about potential flooding, returning to, the interior across the Murray-Darling Food Bowl, and again, potentially across the northwest of New South Wales, and big rain for Queensland and storms as well. So those three interacting climate drivers are well and truly working together now, Luke, as we move into the middle month of spring.
I spoke to Stephen Krieg, the Mayor of LISTNR, earlier this week. He said this time last week they were expecting about 110, 120 millimetres. They got 80. But he said it was 3 o'clock in the morning last Friday, this time last week. SES volunteers were knocking on doors in Lismore saying, get ready to evacuate. The stress that they're living under there, do you see any hope at all for the Northern Rivers area?
Steve, first of all, what an awesome mayor he is. He's a good man, fabulous leader. Wow, they are so lucky to have an amazing leader who believes in that town and fights for that town so hard and for their survival. Look, when I was covering the Lismore floods, when I was drifting down the main street in a boat, pretty much announcing to Australia and the world of what was happening that morning, I told a story. My grandmother went through the big 1955 flood in Maitland, and after that moment, my grandmother was afraid of the rain. She hated it, and I told that story, and I said that the people of Lismore and the Northern Rivers, this has a psychological effect. When you go through an event like that, it lasts forever. Every single time you hear a heavy downpour, elongated period of heavy rain, the stress runs through you. It will never go away. My nana just hated the rain because of the 55 flood, and that's what the residents of the Northern Rivers are going through, and they will continue going through that, sadly, as we progress through the remainder of this La Nina period. But, you know, we'll get there in the end, and we'll get on the other side, and we will have a dry phase, and things will improve. And I tell you, that town of Lismore and those people, amazing fighters, and they continue the fight every day.
Good on you, Gavin. No, good words. I'll pass them on to Steve. You take care. Have a great weekend. We'll talk Monday.
We'll do. All the best.
Gavin Morris, Channel 9 anchor and weatherman, and our weatherman here on the night shift on Triple M.